Hi, folks, and thanks for joining us here today. I'm Michael St. John. I'm a senior principal at Red Hat's Hybrid Platforms business unit, and I'm joined here today by Clyde Hedrick, our Director of Software Solutions Business Development at Intel's Optane Group. And we'd like to talk to you a little bit today about accelerating your digital transformation with pre-configured container platform instances that we've developed in conjunction with Red Hat and Intel. So let's start off by talking a little bit about why you need a digital transformation strategy in the first place. And it's really in context of what the role of applications has been over time. If you go back 20 years ago, you think about the role of an application was really about driving efficiencies within your business. Think about things like financials applications like accounts payable, accounts receivable, human capital management, or even when you get to things like business insights, where you used to take data from multiple aspects and bring it together, extract, transform, load it into a data warehouse, and then you would try to drive business insights, but it would be at a point in time snapshot of your data. Those things have changed quite a bit over the years. If you look over the past 10 years, the evolution of the role of applications has really been to being more of a transformational type of application. Think about being able to deliver new services to your clients, or being able to drive those business insights, not at a point in time snapshot of your data, but instead being able to drive business insights from data at real time, having resources available to application developers, data scientists, and data analysts on the fly. And so as we've seen this transformation from transactional to more transformational type of applications, so we have also seen the role of the underlying infrastructure or platform change over time. If you think about back when we had more of these transactional applications, everything was very project-based. So the life cycle of an application project typically was anywhere from 12 to 18 months. And you would bring together resources from your IT team, your database administrators, your application developers, your line of business managers. You bring them all together and you plan out this project that would take typically over a year. And in doing so, you would plan out what you would need for infrastructure. So you buy a number of servers, storage, networks, you put all of that together. Now, what would happen over time is typically you would see silos of infrastructure built for different applications and different platforms. And what would end up happening is you would have to build those things out for peak capacity, but typically you would have a very low capacity, and so you'd have a lot of idle space across all of this infrastructure. Well, one of the great advents ago was the development of virtual machines and the ability to carve out resources within your infrastructure. Now, all of this was still managed by a centralized IT team, but you were able to carve out parts of all of your infrastructure so that you have better utilization across your data center. Now, over the past 10 years, as we've moved to more of these transformational type of applications, data scientists, application developers, they all need the ability to turn on a dime. They need the ability to go out and get the resources they need when they need it, not have to go back to the IT staff and ask for additional resources. It just takes too long. They have to be able to be more agile and have a more flexible type of infrastructure. And so what we've seen people do is just go out and say, hey, I don't have time for this. And they put down a credit card and they go get resources from the cloud. And that may be a great strategy as far as being able to develop faster and deploy faster. But it becomes very costly over time as you start to build out additional sandbox instances, you move to test, you promote your applications to production, and you operationalize its applications. But beyond that, in a cloud type of environment, you may not have all of the security and governance that's required by your company or even by your centralized governance systems. In addition, if you are trying to develop or deploy on multiple different cloud environments, a lot of those things, they don't talk together. And so you have this inability to communicate or collaborate with other folks in your organization. And so how do we overcome some of these challenges? Having that flexibility and the agility to develop or deploy applications and increase or decrease the amount of resources that you need at any given time, as well as having a common user experience across clouds, or even from clouds to private clouds to your core data center, and even deployed out in edge deployments. Well, all of this can be done today with Kubernetes containerized platforms. And this is why we've seen, as the adoption rate of virtual machines has waned over the past few years, the adoption rate of Kubernetes and containers has grown exponentially over the past few years. Containers provides the ability to put the development resources, your compute, storage, in the hands of the developer, the data scientist, the data analyst, so that they can build out the infrastructure they need for their projects on the fly. Now, why is this very important for building business value? Well, we can see here in this IDC white paper, there's still a lot about efficiencies, about business efficiencies. You see in the lower part of this slide, 21% more efficient IT infrastructure teams. Well, yeah, of course, because now you're putting that those resources in the hands of the developer, so that you don't have to have this constant back and forth between the IT staff in order to get those resources. The IT staff can concentrate on actually running and making those environments more secure and more efficient over time. 71% less unplanned downtime. This is because the platform is resilient by design. 54% lower 5-year cost of operations, 3 times new features each year. But now let's concentrate on the top half of this chart. 636% return on investment over 5 years. This speaks tons. A payback period of less than 1 year, and higher application developer productivity, as well as, look at this, $21.6 million higher revenue per year per organization. And then in this ID research paper, they also talked to and interviewed some of the customers of Red Hat OpenShift, asked them what was the business value for deploying Red Hat OpenShift. And one customer in healthcare talked about how it was able to improve their development practices. They were able to have faster development cycles, making it faster and cheaper to build projects. In manufacturing, one of the customers talked about the ability to try out new, different things. In the past, if they had an idea or a concept, it took too much time to quickly turn around a new project. So within the OpenShift deployment, the actual developers are able to go out and get those resources, ramp those things up on the fly, try out new things, spin off additional sandbox environments, try different things within that system. If they don't work out, they just throw them away, they start over again, and that's all managed by that developer. In media, we've been able to shorten our critical application release cycles. It used to be monthly, now they can do it weekly, in some cases daily. Think about how often you can increase those release cycles so that you have better applications going out to your clientele. There was another one in the hospitality arena that talked about increased revenue. They were able to increase their revenue by 15% per year. And so you might ask, why Red Hat OpenShift? Why is Red Hat the clear leader, market share leader for containerized Kubernetes type platforms? It's really about the additional services that we layer on top of Kubernetes. So the Kubernetes engine itself is an orchestration layer for containers. But what about developer services, application services, data services, all of that needs to be built around that Kubernetes engine? Well, that's what Red Hat OpenShift offers. And so we talked about this need to have the platform services, the application services, the developer services and data services on top of that Kubernetes engine. Well, think about this. If you have mission critical type applications that you're deploying in this infrastructure, you also need the ability to have a common control plane over all of these different environments as they are deployed. You need to have cluster security, not just for the one cluster, but as you're deploying multiple clusters at the edge, at the cloud, or on-prem, you need to have the ability to have cluster security across all of these clusters. And you need a data management capability that allows you to provide file, block, and object protocols to your different applications. So you may need a POSIX file system for a lot of your applications that use that protocol. Or if you're deploying databases, you need a high performance block storage protocol for your database and data warehouse environments. And cloud native applications typically use an S3 compliant object protocol for their storage requirements. And all of this needs to be delivered within one solution. So in a modernized application platform, you need to be able to provide that unified platform for DevSecOps, and it needs to be transparent to developers. So you have a common user experience regardless of whether the platform is running in the cloud, on different clouds, within your core data center, or even out at edge locations. It needs to be able to extend out to any environment, and you need to have that common control plane for observability, management, and monitoring of multiple applications. And of course, you need that consistent data management platform, as well as data services around security, resiliency, data governance. You have to have vulnerability scanning and secure image management in a global registry, security configuration, and it needs to be able to run on any infrastructure or cloud. Now, what if there were a unified platform to secure, protect, and manage applications throughout the software lifecycle across Kubernetes clusters wherever they run? And what if it were ready to run so you don't have to piece it all together yourself and build the solution? Well, this is really what our value add is with OpenShift Platform Plus, working with Intel around these solutions. Red Hat OpenShift Platform Plus allows you to have centralized visibility across the hybrid cloud. We have the Red Hat Advanced Cluster Management that allows you to have that common control plane across all of your environments, being able to do monitoring and reporting back to out and at environments. You also have to have Kubernetes native security across multiple clusters. We do this with our Advanced Cluster Security product that is part of OpenShift Platform Plus. To have that global application container registry, we deliver those services through Quay. And then the data services component is delivered through OpenShift Data Foundation. This is all built into one package solution, OpenShift Platform Plus. And so Red Hat OpenShift Platform Plus brings together all of these components that are required for a robust mission critical type of application, and provides that unified experience in a secure and consistent platform wherever it's deployed. And so if you think about what are the types of workloads that are being deployed in a containerized environment these days, and this survey was taken just back a few months ago, back in November of 2021, and it shows that the majority of people who are using containers are actually deploying databases in the data cache. 76% are deploying databases in that type of environment, followed by AI and ML type software, web services, logging and monitoring, data ingestion, and analytics. All of these core workloads are very important to folks who are deploying containerized applications. And so it's really important as you're deploying these different types of workloads in your environment to have a clear understanding of what the resource requirements are for each one of these types of workloads. That takes a lot of time and effort and testing. And luckily, fortunate for you, we've actually done a lot of that work already with Intel. We've developed best practices not only based on our experience working with actual customers in their POCs and their deployments, but also back at our labs. We've worked together with Intel in building performance, scalability, and resiliency tests across different types of these workloads. So from Postgres and Starburst Trino, things like Spark and Splunk type of AI ops type application. And we continue to work with Intel to build out full distributed architectures that are really transforming industries from healthcare to industry manufacturing, all the way to analytics developed in energy and gas. So these are just a few of the things that we've been working together with Intel over the past 2 years to bring to you a tested, trusted environment that you can deploy very quickly and come up to speed on day one so that you can start deploying all of your workloads and accelerate your time to value of running your applications, developing your applications in containers. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Clyde to talk to us a little bit more about getting from concept to actual value. Clyde, please take it from here.
Thank you very much, Michael. And I'd like to reiterate, because I just think it's so important, a couple of things that Michael mentioned earlier, right? Really, this, when he said in the last 5 years, this drive toward digital transformation, but really the key aspect where he was talking about putting control in the app developers and the data scientists' hands, instead of them having to wait for IT resources to be deployed. And so you've got this phenomenal acceleration that allows companies and developers to innovate at the speed of business. Now, all of this would have been for naught, right, if you have to, build your own system together and the hardware underneath it, because you saw such a great diversity of workloads that Michael was talking about that are used in this cloud native infrastructure of the future, right? And the future is today. That is where, and over the last 2 years, what we've been doing with Red Hat and Dell is creating a infrastructure, that application or an appliance that fits underneath the Red Hat OpenShift Platform Plus to deliver all the performance, all the capabilities that you need in order to have a no worries, run OpenShift Platform Plus in a converged server. That means both your compute and storage. So really hitting the easy button. And of course, it's built upon the reliable Dell PowerEdge R750 with the Intel Xeon Scalable Processor and Intel Optane Persistent Memory, as well as our Intel Optane SSDs and the ever reliable Intel networking, our Ethernet adapter, our E810. What this gives the customers is this combination of software and hardware in an appliance. That underpinnings of this gives a complete hybrid cloud foundation to deploy and manage cloud native applications. As Michael said earlier, what you need in a modern day application platform is consistent user experience and manageability, as well as security across that hybrid infrastructure. Comprehensive tools for cloud native application development, built-in security so that as those containers transition or are portable across clouds, that security goes with them. And you have the Kubernetes native multi-cluster security. This is all the elements that Red Hat OpenShift Platform Plus brings together, but also that end-to-end management and observability that's so key, that automation. You can run 10, 20, 40, maybe 100 VMs per server. With containers, you can run 10x that amount. So we're not talking 10, we're talking 100, 200, 400, 1,000 containers. That is unfathomable to try and manage. You need something like Red Hat OpenShift Platform Plus that brings together all this consistent user experience across a modern application platform. If you tried to do this with a VM-based approach, it would be cost and management prohibitive. So really, what we're delivering here is a ready-to-go appliance with Red Hat OpenShift Platform Plus to give you all those capabilities. Well, one of the key things that you're going to need as well is for these insights is data. To get the data, you need Red Hat OpenShift Platform Plus with OpenShift Data Foundation Advanced. And what this brings you is really a comprehensive storage and data services platform in order to deliver the capabilities that you need, whatever the data format, whatever the security requirements and whatever the performance requirements as well. Whether you be using for block development, if you're using it for file and analytics, or you need to access an S3 compatible object store, supports all three of those. It also comes with a multi-cloud gateway that allows you to access your data across clouds. It supports on-cluster mode, which gives you, that native Kubernetes experience across the entire platform of compute and storage. And then also supports external mode in case you need to attach to outside data sources in that event. But really, another aspect that's great about it is it supports mixed media, which means you can have support for faster media from a storage perspective versus a, say, capacity. So you can run those high performance database workloads and really have the trust that you can meet those performance needs. And of course, the tried and true Red Hat security. So granular encryption, external key management, which is fundamental, and then you have data recovery both at the regional and metro level. In the process of putting this all together, I think what you can see from the course of discussion that Michael and I have had today, we really focused on keeping it simple. Put together the software, the hardware, in a reliable platform that allows customers to deploy this with confidence and run varied different workloads across that. We also scalable, made sure that when cloud native applications, the one main thing they need to be is they need to be scalar. You need that scalability across your environment. And of course, as we mentioned many times before, the tried and true security of Red Hat.
Thanks a lot, Clyde. So if you'd like to get more information on this, please reach out to us, or you can go out to red.ht/Intel or out to the Intel site, intel.com/Red Hat, to find more information on this solution, as well as some of the technical content that we've worked on over the past couple of years to build out our recommended configurations for this appliance. Thank you so much for your time today, and hope to be talking to you soon. Bye-bye.